In the quiet town of Haverfordwest, Wales, two figures moved as one. They were June and Jennifer Gibbons, identical twins, born in 1963. Their family had come from Barbados, settling in a place that did not always understand them. In the grey light of the 1970s, the girls became a local mystery. They walked in step, they wore matching clothes. Their faces held the same distant expression. To the outside world, a silent, mirrored image, a puzzle no one could solve. They looked out at the world but did not seem part of it. Their silence was a wall. From a very young age, the twins refused to speak to anyone. They did not talk to their parents, they did not talk to their siblings, they did not talk to their teachers at school. This refusal was not shy or timid. It was a deliberate, powerful choice. It drew a line between them and everyone else. The world could try to reach them, but the twins would not answer. Their shared quiet was absolute. It felt ancient, like a vow made long before anyone else watched. A bond words from others could not break. This silence was not empty. Between themselves, the twins had a secret life. They whispered to each other in a private language, a rapid, high-pitched dialect of their own making. Based on Bajan Creole, sped up, distorted, incomprehensible to outsiders. This unique speech was their sanctuary, the sound of their small, sealed world. Within its strange music, they could say anything to each other, their fears and their dreams. Their movements were as strange as their language, steps in perfect rhythm, as if governed by a single unseen force. The world of June and Jennifer was a fortress, built for two. Inside their shared bedroom, they created a universe of their own design. The room was their stage, the room was their studio, the room was their sanctuary. Here, they were not the silent twins. They were creators. They played with dolls, acting out elaborate and often disturbing dramas. These were not simple childhood games. They were complex narratives of love, betrayal, and death. The dolls became characters in a long-running soap opera only the two of them could follow. A world rich with emotion, a stark contrast to the blank faces they showed the public. Their creativity soon found a more permanent form. The twins began to write. They saved their school lunch money to pay for a mail-order creative writing course. They filled countless diaries with their thoughts, poems, and observations. Their entries reveal a world of intense feeling, of their love and their hatred for each other, their deep loneliness and their desire for fame. One diary entry reads, "Nobody suffers the way I do. Not with a sister, with a husband, yes. With a wife, yes. With a child, yes. But this sister of mine, a dark shadow robbing me of sunlight, is my one and only torment." This passion for writing grew into an obsession. The twins produced several full-length novels, dark and unsettling, often set in America. They explored themes of crime, passion, and the strange power dynamics between people. Jennifer wrote a novel called The Pugilist. June wrote The Pepsi-Cola Addict. These were not the works of ordinary teenagers, raw, vivid, filled with a strange, despairing energy. The books showed a desperate need to be seen and understood, even as the twins remained hidden behind their wall of silence, wanting the world to hear their voices, but only through the safety of the written word. Their relationship was as complex and dark as their fiction, a fierce, competitive struggle. They were each other's closest ally and greatest enemy, locked in a cycle of love and resentment. Their private world was a battlefield as much as it was a haven. As the twins entered their late teens, the dark themes of their stories began to spill into their real lives. The quiet girls started to act out. Their rebellion was not loud or boastful. It was secretive and destructive. They began to commit petty crimes. They shoplifted. They experimented with drinking. They experimented with drugs. This was a new chapter in their story. Their inner turmoil became an external force. The silent world they had built could no longer contain the pressure. The fire they wrote about in their novels was starting to burn in the real world. The crimes escalated, from minor thefts to more serious offenses. acts of vandalism. They set fires. One act of arson led to significant damage. This was not a typical cry for attention. It was a strange, desperate act from people who had never learned to communicate their pain, a dangerous extension of their private language. The community that had once watched with curiosity now looked on with fear and confusion. Their destructive spree inevitably led to their arrest. The legal system did not know what to do with them. June and Jennifer Gibbons were not typical criminals. Their silence in court was as profound as it had been in the classroom. Psychiatrists were called in to assess them. The doctors were faced with a case unlike any other. They diagnosed the twins with a severe personality disorder. The court decided a normal prison was not appropriate. Instead, they were sent to Broadmoor, a high-security psychiatric hospital in England. They were just 19 years old when the gates closed behind them. The sentence was indefinite. A new kind of prison, confined within imposing walls, their strange, silent bond leading them down a dark path. The world they had tried to escape had finally caught up with them, trapping them among the most troubled minds in the country. Life inside Broadmoor Hospital was a stark and lonely reality, a world of strict routines, locked doors, and constant observation. For 11 years, this was the twins' home. The staff at Broadmoor tried to break their silent pact. They were often separated, placed in different wards, in the hope isolation would force them to speak. But the strategy did not work. When apart, the twins would often become catatonic, freezing in strange poses for hours. Their bond seemed to grow stronger with every attempt to sever it. They remained a unit, even when physically divided. The doctors and the nurses were fascinated and frustrated by them, documenting their strange, mirrored behaviors. Staff noted how one would refuse to eat if she believed the other was not eating. They continued to communicate in their secret language when they could. Their diaries from this time reveal their deep despair. They felt that their lives were being wasted. Jennifer wrote, "I really am going to die. My heart is beating fast. It is going to burst. I am going to die." During their long years of confinement, a chilling idea took root. The twins came to believe that their bond was a curse, that one of them had to die so the other could be truly free. It was a dark and terrible pact, born from years of isolation and psychological struggle. Not a fantasy, but a serious conviction, discussed calmly as if planning a simple journey. Journalist Marjorie Wallace, who had gained their trust, was told of the agreement. Jennifer told her plainly, "Marjorie, I'm going to have to die." When asked why, she simply said, "Because we decided." The idea that one life had to be extinguished for the other to begin was the final tragic logic of their shared existence. In March 1993, a change finally came. After 11 long years, the decision was made to transfer the twins to a lower security clinic in Wales. This was the first step toward freedom. On the day of the transfer, the twins were quiet, but there was a sense of anticipation. Jennifer reportedly rested her head on June's shoulder during the journey. "At last, we're out." It seemed like the beginning of a new life. The pact they had made lingered in the background. The hope was short-lived. Upon their arrival at the new clinic, Jennifer was unresponsive. She was rushed to a nearby hospital, but was pronounced dead shortly after. She was only 29 years old. Her death was a profound shock. An autopsy was performed, but no clear cause could be found. There was no sign of poison or injury. Her heart had suddenly and inexplicably failed. The official cause was recorded as acute myocarditis. But for those who knew of the pact, the cause seemed deeper, more mysterious. In the days that followed Jennifer's death, a remarkable transformation occurred. June, who had been silent for most of her life, began to speak. She spoke to the police. She spoke to her family. Her voice, once reserved only for her twin, was now open to the world. It was as if a switch had been flipped. She told Marjorie Wallace, "I'm free at last, liberated, and at last Jennifer has given up her life for me." The pact had been fulfilled. One had died, and the other was finally able to live. June was released from psychiatric care and began to build a quiet life for herself in West Wales. The story of the silent twins leaves behind a haunting legacy, an unbreakable bond that became a prison. It raises difficult questions about identity, family, and the ways we treat those who live on the fringes of our understanding. Were they victims of a society that did not know how to help them, or were they the architects of their own tragic fate? Their lives were a testament to the power of a shared inner world and the terrible price of their isolation. The silence is broken now, but the echo of their strange and sorrowful journey remains.